Welcome to the show, Matt Kaulig, Chris Rice. Gentlemen, how are you guys?
Brandon, great. Couldn't be better. Super excited about coming off of Talladega. That's always fun to race at those super speedways. They're exciting for a billion different reasons. But looking forward to going to Charlotte this week, and it's good to talk to you about racing.
I'm so excited, guys. It's an honor and privilege to have you guys a part of the show tonight. Matt, let's start with you, man. Successful business owner with Leaf Filter, now a successful NASCAR team owner as well. That's a hell of a crazy crossover. Talk a little bit about, I'm sure you've said it 100 times, but for the listeners, talk about the urge and the drive to get started in NASCAR.
Oh man, that's great. And I appreciate that, saying I'm successful at Leaf Filter and racing. It's actually good to be on both sides of it. But for those that don't know, started in the sport in NASCAR as a sponsor. So, I built this Leaf Filter company. We do gutter protection. It's Leaf Filter gutter protection. I built this thing out of my house, started back in 2005. So I live up, and my business is up in Hudson, Ohio, which is Northeast Ohio. And, as the company started growing, I started growing nationwide. I started out of my house in 2005 and worked just in Northeast Ohio for 3 years, and then started to expand, open offices in different markets, including, probably my 10th office was down in Charlotte, and I have one in Raleigh. And as we were getting down farther into Texas and, really in the South into NASCAR country, thought it would be a good situation, like to maybe, be in NASCAR, just advertise on a car in NASCAR. It was such a big sport. And so in 2014, had the opportunity to do that. So in the, in the fall race in Charlotte in 2014, sponsored Blake Cook in a Cup car. And, we had our very first Leaf Filter, which is really the same paint scheme that we run now with Justin Haley, that we actually ran with Justin Haley yesterday as well in the at Talladega in the Cup race. But had fun, started with Charlotte, and then we did Miami that season, and then kind of got the bug. I brought a lot of people down from our corporate headquarters at Leaf Filter, down from Ohio. And loved the pictures, loved the fact that we could get shirts, and our sales reps could go into houses with Leaf Filter racing gear on, and so everybody, including fans and our customers, really started to like that. So got into the Xfinity Series in 2015 full time with Blake Cook, and sponsored the whole year. So we just loved that, and then got about halfway through the year. And, started to learn about NASCAR, started to learn about the team owners and the different teams and the different funding and the different sponsorships. And, we, kind of were in how do I nicely say, kind of in a situation where, we weren't the most competitive. We weren't advertising or marketing on the most competitive team or cars. So, wanted to know how we did that. How could we go faster? And, it really came down to, we were spending so much money, or we wanted to spend more money, but also being entrepreneurial, I thought to myself, hey, I think I could do this myself. And so what would it take to start a NASCAR team, even in the Xfinity Series? And so Blake Cook introduced me to Chris Rice, who's on this podcast now with me. And we sat down and talked about numbers. And, he's been in the sport forever, and has run teams and in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series and the Truck Series, and, knows this stuff. So sat down with him, went over numbers, talked about what it would take to actually start a team. And, to make a long story short, that's really how we got started. Chris started working and meeting with manufacturers. We started to talk to different Cup teams about alliance deals, what kind of motors we were going to run, and what that would look like, where our race shop was going to be, and really just started. So, here we are, fast forwarded to now, This is our 6th full-time season as Kaulig Racing. We've got 14 Xfinity trophies and a Cup trophy. So having fun. I'd say Chris Rice knows how to run a race team.
Chris, yes, sir. Yeah. Chris, for as Matt's, led in for you almost perfectly there. You've been in the sport a long time. From your perspective, what made this pairing, make sense for you?
Well, thank you, Matt, as I always tell him. But, when I met Matt Kaulig, man, years ago, over 6 years ago now, I had this vibe that, he was like me. All he wanted to do was win in stats, or win in what he was doing, try to beat the next guy. And, he taught me the day I met him. We sat down and we talked about his business, but we also talked about life. And he had just hit something in me that was like, okay, this guy's for real. Like, he wants to go racing. And, man, I've always wanted to have this opportunity to go racing with somebody that just believes in me and my ability to what we can do. So we've had an amazing relationship since day one. We've probably talked, if we haven't talked every day, we haven't missed many days. So it has been amazing. But, to have a race team that we've had over the last several years and win the races we've won, because just in the last 3 years, we've won 14 races. We didn't even start having top fives until, the last 3 years. So we really come on the map the last 3 years and learned how to win. And that just took some time. Matt was very patient with us. Everybody at Leaf Filter was very patient with us. We were just there, right? Like, we were the guys that we made the playoffs. We were there, but we really wasn't that guy that was going to win that race, run in the top five. Then all of a sudden we said, okay, let's change up the business model a little bit. Matt and myself, we sat down, and we'll never forget it. We sat down at one of his events, and he gave me a little bit of a pep talk, and we went after it. It took us about 6 months, and the next thing you know, we started winning, and we haven't looked back since. We run top 5, top 10 every week, and have 3 cars now, 3 great drivers, and a bunch of great employees that have the same vision we have. And it's been a lot of fun for sure.
That's incredible. Matt, you talk about, getting into the Xfinity Series back in 2015. You started out as a race, as a sponsor in the sport. When you were making the decision of what series to get into, what pulled you to the Xfinity Series versus the Truck Series?
Oh man. Well, actually it was Blake Cook. I mean, we were behind Cook. Blake Cook was our driver. Sure. So when we were over at TriStar Motorsports, I mean, Blake really introduced me to Chris. I mean, Chris had crew chiefed a couple of Blake's cars, in the years past, and they had some success together. I think they qualified second down in Miami, a few years earlier. And so it was really about, my intention wasn't totally, it's weird how just things work out. My intention wasn't totally just to start a race team. We were going to, we had originally talked about partnering with TriStar Motorsports, which isn't around anymore. But then it turned to, all right, how can we, what can we do? Where can we go? How do we go fast? And really partner. So, and Chris will tell you, and I think a lot of fans know, originally we were, it was Blake Cook was our driver, and then Chris not only was the team president and running everything, but was also the crew chief. And kind of we just started, really small, and then went from there. So, and eventually, we moved on from Blake and got Ryan Truex and. And now we've got Justin Haley in that 11 car, and now we've got 3 full-time Xfinity cars, and winning races, and I think now we've run 9 or 10 Cup races, and we've just kind of built from there. But I always talk to Chris about running in the Truck Series. That's where he was. He was running a truck team at the time when I met him. And then finished out that season, and then of course we started Kaulig Racing. But we've talked about it a bunch of times over the years. In fact, we talked about it last week, where we we're bummed. I'm personally bummed that we took it's not NASCAR's fault, but that Mid Ohio was taken off the schedule.
Yeah.
In the Xfinity Series. So, it's like, man, what are we going to do? Are we going to, so I started talking to Chris about, hey, can we run trucks maybe just for Mid Ohio?
And I always tell him his phone's breaking up. I can't hear him. He needs to get a new phone. He's breaking up real bad.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah. But Chris, I'd love to have a truck trophy. We've got a trophy in the Cup Series. We've got a bunch of them in the Xfinity Series. So
you got to complete the
we're not looking. It would be great, wouldn't it? But I doubt that. Never say never, but I don't think we're going to do that.
Fair enough. Chris, man, you mentioned a few minutes ago, the last 3 years is when Kaulig Racing's been on the map, so to speak. From the competition side of things, it's been so much fun to watch you guys over the years. I've been talking about Kaulig Racing for years on the show as the team to watch because it looks like it's being done the right way. And I don't know what the right way is, but from a fan perspective, we talk about the eyeball test, and you guys look like it's been passed with flying colors. Talk a little bit about the growth of the team from inside the shop through the driver roster changes as the years have progressed to 2021, knocking on a championship.
Yeah, well, it's been a lot of fun, and thank you for talking about us. That's the key. We want everybody in the world talking about us and how much fun we're having no matter the situation. But, it starts at the top, and we started at, Matt taught me that you got to have fun doing this. If we're not having fun, there's no need to do it. So we treat the shop the same way. We talk about having fun. We talk about, competing each and every week, but you just got to have great people that believe in the system. We have a great system here. It is one team, and we field 3 cars. Everybody works for Matt Kaulig. Everybody works for Kaulig Racing. Nobody is a 10-car, just the 10-car. Nobody's just the 11. Nobody's just the 16. It is all one team working for the same goal. We came home with the regular season championship trophy, and it made it back to the shop today. And I noticed that every single person was going by there taking a picture with it. And that's what we want, because this is one team. And that's the way we're doing it. I know, I've seen where Rick Hendricks said something like that this year. And we've been saying it for about 6 years now. But it's just, we want, no matter the car that gets in victory lane, as long as it's a Kaulig Racing car, everybody wins. Everybody gets a bonus. Everybody gets a chance to take that picture with the trophy. Everybody gets a win hat. And that's what matters, right? And when we do that, the shop just works harder for you and harder for the ultimate goal, and that's winning championship, winning races. And, man, I got to give it to A.J. Allmendinger and Justin Haley have become great friends, which has elevated our race team. Each one of them had their own little part in doing what they've done to make us better, but those 2 guys have made the guys that we brought in, Ross Chastain, Jeff Burton, they made those guys fit right in and continuously win at the Speedway. So I got to give them a bunch of kudos also in believing in our system.
That's great. Matt, Chris mentioned AJ in there. You guys bring in AJ to kind of serve as a mentor. He filled, he ran a couple spots here and there. Now driving full time for you guys, 4 wins this year. Talk a little bit about what brought that all to fruition, bringing AJ into the mix and with a full-time ride this year.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, we were sitting around talking. I've always looked at the sport and said, all right, you've got road courses. Obviously we run different tracks. You've got the short tracks, you've got the intermediate 1.5-mile tracks, you've got super speedways, and you've got road courses. And so as we would run pretty good, Blake would run good, and whoever was driving the car at these road courses, we had some good cars. And so then we just talked about, hey, what if we had another car and we just put a road course racer in it just for the road courses, just to see what happens. Same with almost the super speedways. You could put, some real good super speedway racers in the car, and then they could go
do their thing.
They could go do their thing. Yeah. And so that's why we brought, we started talking about it. And I think we even might have been together, and I think we were watching, an IMSA race And here's AJ Allmendinger, as the commentator and at the race. And I'm like, well, why isn't AJ driving? And why don't we call AJ Allmendinger up and see if he wants to drive just our road courses? Like he doesn't need, most of these guys, when they're not racing or they, as like they have to get back into the sport, they need sponsorship, they need money. But we said, hey, if we could just go try to win, we'll have AJ run. And so we called AJ up and he said, heck yeah, I'll run, in your road courses. And, we just built a great relationship. Didn't have any idea of what kind of leader, how personable and great a guy he is for the team. Not only the drivers, but I mean, really for the whole team. I mean, everybody in the shop genuinely likes AJ. AJ genuinely appreciates the opportunity that he's been given, dare I say, later in his career that he never really thought he'd get again. And we're just blessed to have a guy like AJ Allmendinger, in the seat, that is such a good driver and such a good personality. So, no, he has been all that and everything, for our race team. And, here we've got one race left here in the first round of the playoffs. And, I think he's 33 points to the good, and looking good as we go to another road course that he's won before.
I was gonna say,
here in Charlotte at the Roval.
I think you guys got a couple trophies from him there.
Yeah, and so he's confident there. We're very confident, in him and all the guys. Really, I mean, the cars should be fast, and we're really looking forward to it. AJ's also running in the Cup race on Sunday at the Roval. So, he's looking good there too. But no, can't say enough about AJ and what he's done, what he's brought to the team, and we look forward to having him for years to come.
That's incredible. He's been on the show a couple times. He brings a lot of energy, passion, and I love getting an opportunity to chat with him. That's for sure. Chris, you guys making the move to Cup next year, from the garage perspective of having the respect of your peers, having growth, the wins to back it up in the Xfinity Series, already having a win in the Cup Series. Talk a little bit about what it's going to be like being the new kids on the block next year, full time in the Cup garage.
Well, if you were watching the Talladega race, I think you've seen that yesterday. I mean, it is what it is. You got to go earn your way, just like we did in Xfinity. We know it's going to be tough to go out there and run top 10 every week, but that's our goal. And it's, it's definitely going to be tough, but you got to go in there and gain their respect. I think Justin Haley did a wonderful job yesterday of gaining their respect, getting up there and leading some laps. But when it come time for those guys to race for stage points, we were like, okay, let's just get out of there and let those guys duke it out for their stage points. There's no need for us to mess up their playoff bid, right? We wouldn't want them coming in our garage doing the same thing. So those kind of things is what makes the other race teams appreciate you. Matt was at the racetrack yesterday, and Joe Gibbs come walking by him and told him good luck, so they're already noticing us and Matt, and that's the things that you want. You want the other race teams to notice you, and you want to gain their respect. You want them to understand that we're all here for the same goal, and that's sell sponsorships and run fast race cars and win trophies. But at the same time, we can kind of be partners in this NASCAR world. So everybody sees that that's us, and we want to continue that, and we want to continue that in the Cup side. We jumped in with 2 feet literally into the fire with 2 charters, and now we gotta go and execute on those in the next bunch of years, and we will. That's something we're looking forward to, and we're looking forward to the new car.
That's I can't wait. Everybody knows how excited I am to watch you guys continue to grow within this sport. It's awesome. Guys, I want to wrap with this. I want to share a little story with you guys. As I mentioned, MIS is my home track. And, a couple weeks ago, we were at MIS. I was standing on pit road, right at the break between, the main garage entrance there from pit road, which is where the 16's pit stall was at the break. And I'm literally standing there as each yellow came out to go out into victory lane. And I just looked up at you guys, and it was so much fun to watch the passion as each yellow would maybe come out, and the frustration and all that, and to see the payoff in person right there next to you guys. It was so incredible. I was so excited for you guys to get the win in the backyard of the Motor City. Real quick, talk about what it means to get a win at Michigan for you guys.
Well, man, for me personally, I mean, it's just good to have these, have all these trophies. I've gone up to Michigan, even for years. My dad worked for Rebestos. He was the sales and marketing representative for, his vice president of sales and marketing at Rebestos Brakes. So, we've been going up to Michigan for years. So I'm from Chicago. So I went to high school in Chicago. And so, it was just a few hour drive, over there. And so pretty surreal. I mean, I love that racetrack anyway, because, I can't figure out, I say every time we go there, I can't figure out whether it's an oval or intermediate track or like a super speedway,
Yes.
I think, Race, don't I say that to you every time? I'm like, I don't know what is this? How do you treat this?
He's like, "Oh, we running a Daytona car, or what are we running?" I'm like, "No, it's a Bristol car." You don't know how to treat Michigan.
It's all
but I
the
love
things.
it, man. There's nothing like it, man. When those cars go into one and then they're all spread out, and and they're drafting, and it's just a super fun race to watch and be a part of. And now we get to say we've got an awesome Michigan trophy, and so it meant a lot. And it's going to be cool because every time you go back there, you're reminded of how cool it was to win.
Absolutely. I love it.
And it's Motor City, right? So we look at it, Chevrolet is a huge partner of ours now. We're probably the first and only Xfinity team to ever be a key partner with Chevrolet, and it's Motor City. So to go to win in their backyard, man, is just amazing. And I never thought in a million years we'd win Michigan, nor did I think we'd win Vegas. And we won both of them this year. Which was a lot of fun, and it's something to hang your hat on to win Michigan. A lot of people can't say they won in the backyard of their Chevy or Ford or Toyota. So definitely excited about that.
Absolutely. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, listen, guys, I got to thank you guys again so much for taking some time to come onto the podcast tonight. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to you guys in the playoffs. Best of luck this week at the Roval, and hopefully we're talking about a Kaulig championship here in a couple weeks.
That'd be great. Hey, if we do, we'll call back in and we'll talk about it. Can't wait.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Everybody, make sure you're following Kaulig Racing. Matt Kaulig, Chris Rice, thank you guys so much. Look forward to talking to you guys very soon.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate it, and keep smiling.
I will, absolutely. Right. You know it. Lap Traffic Nation, are you kidding me right now? How awesome was that? Matt Kaulig, Chris Rice. Man, I mean, that's up there in terms of top guests right there, I think. Something tells me this show might have the highest download of any show ever. I'm just putting it out there. I think that this show is going to do awesome, and I'm so excited, so honored to have had those guys on the show. All right.